welcome to Slasher Sunday. It's been a while, huh? I think it's been like 6 weeks since I've done a Slasher Sunday. But a friend of mine, Brenda, she had a birthday a few days ago, and she requested that I do Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon for her birthday. And I was like, well, it's a slasher, and Sunday's coming up. I know it'll be past your birthday. I bet she thinks I forgot. I bet you she's sitting there like, Dick, didn't do it? Well, here it is, Brenda, okay? So what are you going to do for me now? Anyway, all right. So I want to also give a shout out to Travis Gillespie, because this is, to my memory, his favorite American horror movie. Pretty sure it is. Now, this is an interesting flick because it's half found footage and half normal, normal film. And it's definitely a unique one. There's very few films like this one where it's, somebody who's getting interviewed that's a Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers type character. I think it has been done a couple times. I don't know. I doubt this was the first, but it's definitely the most popular of that kind of film, which, as I said, there's very few of. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but I know they exist. I like that. I love that in this movie, we know for sure that Michael Myers in Haddonfield, Freddy Krueger over in Springwood on Elm Street, Jason Voorhees in Crystal Lake, and Chucky and the Rabbit in Red Lounge all exist in this universe that they're in. That's pretty cool. I mean, you could have a sequel franchise where, these guys all pop up at some point in the movie. That'd be pretty damn cool. Of course, that would never, ever, ever happen. But regardless, the fact that they all exist in that universe, and the fact that Kane Hodder plays the guy who lives at the Elm Street house, that's pretty rad. That's pretty freaking rad, if you ask me. So, I love all that stuff. I like that when we meet Leslie, that he's not a creep at first. He's like really fun and almost charming and very goofy, and the last person on earth you would expect to be, a serial killer, Michael Myers type character, some horror villain icon kind of character. And he really plays his part extremely well. I think that without his performance, this movie wouldn't be as good as it was, or as well received as it was, because it's a pretty beloved film. Now, I'm not someone who loves this movie. I like it a good deal. I think what it lacks, and this is an R-rated movie, so it doesn't really have the excuse, but it kind of reminds me of something like The Final Girls, which that film should be a straight up masterpiece. Like, it really should be. And to some of my friends, it freaking is. And I just don't understand why. Because it's poking fun at and doing like this giant homage to a genre that it doesn't honor in all of the ways that genre became what it was, and what brought that genre to what it was. And that's gore and tits. Now, this movie does feature a great pair of tits. It's close up, and it's actually a really funny moment in the movie, because the girl says something like, well, isn't that gratuitous? And he's like, who's telling this story, or something along those lines. Pretty funny, but it's like this close up of these amazing tits, and it's like, all right, there you go. So you got at least that for a second. Not enough, of course, but that at least is in there. But the kills in this movie are lame. There's not a single good kill in the entire film. To me, that's just, when it comes to a slasher movie, unless you've got unless you've got atmosphere, style, music, unless everything else is firing on all cylinders, there's not having great kills is just it is inexcusable to me. Unacceptable and inexcusable. I was trying to put into one word there. Unexcusable, unacceptable. I don't know what the hell I was trying to pull off there. But like what I'm trying to say is like Halloween is able to pull off goreless kills because its style is so strong. I mean, Halloween is technically a slasher film, and I always say it's technically one, and I always say that I barely consider it one, even though, yes, it does do all of the slasher things, and it's kind of what almost invented the slasher genre. There's a very low body count. The kills are all super generic, like lame. Trust me, I love all the kills in the movie, but when it comes to the slasher genre, Friday the 13th or something, where the kills are the main focal point, Halloween 1 just lacks in that area. But would it be better if it had gory kills? Would Halloween, that's a question I've never even pondered until right this second. Would John Carpenter's Halloween... No, I don't think so, just because the movie is perfect. To me. I mean, obviously, it's an opinion thing, but the film is perfect, so changing any second of it, I don't know. It doesn't need them at all. It's the implications that work, but why is that film allowed to get away with it and a film like this isn't? Because this film is nowhere near as good, because it doesn't have that really tight, tense atmosphere. Like, Halloween just has the perfect mood, the perfect atmosphere, the perfect style, and the way the way Michael kills in that movie. There's an art to the way it's presented. So I don't know if I see a film like that now, would I still want to kill that was memorable? I don't know. I do feel like Halloween does get a pass in some ways because it's a classic, because it's old, because it's nostalgia, because of this and that, but I still can't see it as anything but perfect. But this film, yeah, the kills in this are non-existent. I mean, we just get like a little scythe, and he puts it in like the back of someone's neck, or it's just all lame stuff, like slicing someone's throat, and you don't even see the wound. So it's definitely not the focus of the movie. The focus of the movie is the parody angle of it all. Even though it does kind of get a little serious towards the end when we find out that the final girl that he really has been courting this entire time was the host, the interviewer, and the characters are all pretty good. Leslie Vernon being, of course, the best of the best of the cast. England's actually pretty good too, as the Dr. Loomis type character, as they call him in this, Ahab. I like that character, and the main girl, the one that's hosting the documentary that they're making. Now, I guess an issue I have with the movie, and it's a parody, it's like a horror comedy, so you can't take it too seriously, but they do play it pretty straight at the end. And she's kind of rejecting against what he's doing. And she's like, we got to stop this, and we can't let this happen, and this and that. And I get it. Like, their curiosity got the best of them. So this is how this all took place. But if she was going to be that reactionary to it all, if her crew was going to be that way, like, how did they get hooked up with him in the beginning? And let's also point out the fact that every person who dies in this movie, she's complicit in. She's an accomplice in all the deaths in this movie. 100%. Like, even if you change your mind the last second and try to help, you still prepped with him. You still had firsthand knowledge. You were there as he told you his whole plan verbatim. You came along with it. He killed somebody already. See, that's another thing. It's not like they got into it and then they were like, holy shit, is this really happening? Zelda Rubinstein's character, the librarian, he like slashes this chick's neck. And so she's all like, they've already killed somebody at this point. So for me, that would have been the point where they need to pull out. And they kind of ish want to, but not anywhere near enough. Like, I guess, I don't know. I just can't buy that this camera crew and that this reporter, journalist girl is okay with it and then is so not okay with it. That just seems like such a leap. As I said, I kind of wave it away as curiosity and getting the good story and all of this. And I guess you can't really think of the logic of this. The guy's going to take her around and show her the ropes, and he's going to, talk about his style, what he does and all of that stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. The whole plot is ridiculous. So I guess, critiquing it in that specific area whilst not critiquing it in this area does seem a little hypocritical. But regardless, I can't help but feel that way when I watch it. That this girl and her camera crew are so in it and then are just so drastically out of it as if something dramatically changed. Like they didn't. So I don't know. But there are moments of that you have like that in life. Maybe not with murder. Most of us hopefully haven't committed murder or have been a party to it. But regardless, there's definitely been things in my life where I have thought I wanted to be a part of something. And then you get in there. This was, usually when I was much, much younger. But you get in there and you're like, oh yeah, let's do this shit. I'm hard or I'm cool, whatever. And you get in there and then it starts happening around you and you're like, oh shit, I don't want anything to do with this. What was I thinking? That's usually pretty short-lived. It's usually like in the moment you think you can do it. This freaking thing was happening over weeks. And he planned and he killed somebody. So, I don't know. Anyway. Now, I think where the movie has its most appeal to genre fans is just when he addresses all of the killer's attributes and the killer's strengths and the killer's prep and all of that for this. How, he has to do massive amounts of cardio and he has to make it look like he's walking but he's also able to keep up with people, of course, and nod to the fact that horror villains walk and always can seem to catch up. Or in Jason Voorhees' world, once he gets to the 8th movie, once he gets to the Manhattan movie, he can legitimately teleport. There is no explanation for how Jason is down on the deck and then he's all the way up that freaking ladder with the guy and pulls him and throws him off within 1 second. He's either the fastest climber that ever was and ever will be, or he straight up teleports. Jason teleports in that movie. There's no, it's ridiculous. But, we're talking about a fucking zombie here, so I guess anything's possible. And you've also got, of course, he goes and he finds the old timer. I like the old timer who talks about the new killers. You've always got that in interviews about they always go talk to the old timers and they talk about their days and how things have changed and how things have stayed the same and all that stuff. I liked that. Thought that was pretty cool. But he goes and he meets him and he's like in a sleep deprivation thing so that he can pretend he's dead, which of course he uses at the end of the movie, even though he's completely burnt to a crisp and he's supposedly just a normal human, whatever. But he does put flame retardant around his face I don't know why that would prevent you from dying from a house fire, but whatever. But I like that that's addressed. I like that he goes around the house. He preps the house before he puts dead batteries in the flashlights. He cuts all the branches off so there's no easy path out of the house. He nails the windows shut. He saws like bigger branches so that they break if any weight's applied to them. You know, just all that kind of stuff. Really fun, good attention to detail. Clearly horror fans writing the script and are like, okay, why do these things happen? Why does this happen? Why does this happen? And it's like, because the killer prepped beforehand. Now, am I going to headcanonize that into a, Halloween? Absolutely not. I don't think Michael's going around and changing fucking batteries. I mean, do you know how lame that would be if we found out Michael was like going around and sawing branches off and nailing windows shut? And it's just not Michael. Michael's just, pure evil. He goes into it off the cuff, much like my reviews, which appeals to some and really does not to others. Man, I've been getting a lot of interesting comments lately. So many constructive criticisms of how I should take notes and have an idea of what I'm going to talk about before and edit. Edit, you should be crisper and you should write a script and you should... Do you not get my channel at all? If you don't like it, move the fuck on. It's just weird to me. But people want everything to be the same. Like, they're like, oh, this works and this is popular, so that's what you should do. No, I shouldn't. Okay, another thing I really like, and I think is unique about this movie, is that it is a found footage movie, but then once he sets the stage, then it goes to a typical narrative, like a regularly shot film, and it shows us that scene as if it's a regular horror movie. But he just kind of explained how that scene was going to play out and how he's manipulating the scene, the fishing line around the brick, she sees him, this and that. How he would have been able to pull that off without that girl helping him and pulling the fishing line, I don't know. Maybe he always has help, maybe he always has an assistant. Does Michael have an assistant? Does Jason have an assistant? Are they always, the unsung heroes that are on the outside of the camera you never see? But I like that transition. I like the found footage to like a regular movie, back and forth. It sets the stage and then it plays it out as if you were watching. So you know how that scene, if you were watching it in like a normal straight film, how the magic tricks are applied. I also love that he studies magic, that they go into his house and they look into his book collection and he's like studying Harry Houdini and stuff. That's pretty cool. Because yeah, some of that sleight of hand, some of those magic tricks that those guys do on like Penn and Teller's bullshit and like America's Got Talent, all these things where these guys come out and they do like this close-up hand magic and they're like making cards disappear and stuff. That shit's remarkable. Like, that shit is insane. And to have like a serial killer, like a Jason Voorhees kind of character, being able to pull off stuff like that, where like he goes in one door and then he appears over there like a second later. Yeah, some of it is bullshit, some of it's editing, but some of it's ridiculously like just talent. And for these guys to be able to have that talent, kind of in their arsenal, it's pretty cool. He talks a little bit about the symbolisms of like phallic imagery and all of that. Yeah, I know people get into that stuff. They get into the misogyny of films or the empowering of women, or how it's kind of throwing away femininity to embrace your masculinity and to take back control or all. I never get into that kind of shit. I mean, if it's there, it is. I mean, I think that's one of those things where you can find symbolism and metaphors and whatever and everything. If you really want to try hard enough, you can find whatever you want. I try not to do it. I just don't. I don't care. I don't see these movies as, misogynistic. But I don't know. When I listen to people talk about it, and they're like, oh, well, just brutalizing women, this and that. It's like, of course we always have that counter argument. It's like, no, the person who always bests the killer in almost all of these movies is female. and they start as weak and they end as strong. So I don't know. I don't see it, but I guess, I mean, any argument can be made. I do like that he also preps his face like a boxer, so that like if he gets hit in the face, like his eyes won't swell up. You'll be able to still see. Puts fire retardant, as I had said. Stuff like that. That was pretty cool. I don't like his mask. I don't like the look of Leslie Vernon in this all that much. Like, it's iconic now, so every time I see it, it's very, memorable. But I'm not a fan of it. I think it looks silly. But it's a horror comedy, so maybe it fits. But yeah, not a fan of the look. And yeah, I mean, she definitely killed him in the end of this movie. Yes, I know the credits roll, and as the credits roll, he's rolled in, and he has an Alex from Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter type of kill, where he comes off of the gurney there, and well, I don't even think we see what happens. He just sits up, so I'm assuming that a morgue attendant died, but whatever. But he died. I mean, he's not human. If he lived through that, he's not human. And yeah, I already kind of touched on the fact that this is all her fault. Do I have anything else? I kind of rush all over my notes. I'll probably be annoyed at myself. I always am. I can't tell you how many times, probably 9 out of 10 times, where I finish up one of these videos and then like I'll look back down at my notes after I've pressed stop and I'll be like, oh motherfucker, I really wanted to I guess another thing is like the reasoning behind why they do it. Why Michael and him, especially him. I mean, of course, he's speaking for himself more so than anybody. And that the point of it all is to be that balance between good and evil, that there is no good without evil, that he is basically a martyr, that he takes on this responsibility to help these women find their strength. Like, he talks about how this girl, once she takes his weapon and uses it against him and has this big turnaround moment and all that, this will be the happiest guy. He'll be the happiest guy in the world because he's there to empower her, to be the force of evil, as the counterbalance, so that good can exist. Interesting concept. I don't really see how it applies because it's only one person, but maybe their story empowers others, and because of that, there's more good in the world. I don't know, but that's his reasoning. He's a fucking psychopath. You can't really listen to that. But anyways, yeah. Overall, it's a movie that I like, I enjoy, but I don't find myself, desperate to watch it. I've only watched it. I think this is my second time I've ever seen it. It is currently streaming on Amazon Prime, and that's how I watched it. I don't know if I own it. I don't think I do, but yeah. At the end of the day, it's a movie that it's fine. I watch it and I'm like, yeah, that was all right, but I never felt compelled to watch it again until now when she asked, and I was like, oh, I guess it's time I give it another chance. And I still feel the same way I felt back then. Like, I know so many people are so crazy high on it. That's funny. Travis's name just came across my screen right as I was about to end, and I was about to say his name. Like, my friend Travis, he's so huge on this. Brenda, obviously. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like her jam, as well as Art, the clown from Terrifier. She has that dude like all over her bedroom. She was sending me pictures. And it was pretty funny. She was talking about how every guy who she was to ever bring over there she'd scare him off. Not me. So have me over. That sounds like a proposition. Maybe it is. So Brenda, happy birthday, sweetheart. And I hope you enjoyed the review. And adios, everybody.